All right, and messing with my calculator, I accidentally stopped that video, so we're starting another one. I'm just going to take tangent of 36, okay, times 5 equals 3.63271264. Okay, I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth and I get 3.63. Okay, set this down for a second. So I know that x equals 3.63. This value right here equals 3.63. This right triangle is that right triangle, which means this value equals 3.63. Okay, now what good does that do us? Once we know the value of this little chunk right here, we can double it to get our side length. Okay, 3.63 doubled is going to be 7.26. Okay, so you know that this total side length then is 7.26. If this is 7.26, so is this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay, so that's why I wrote it there, so it's not so cluttered. Now, I know my apothem is 5. I know my side length is 7.26, and I know my number of sides is 5. So step 3 is plug everything into the formula. Area equals apothem times side length times number of sides divided by 2. Area equals, my apothem is 5. My side length is what we found of 7.26. My number of sides is 5. And then you divide that by 2, and that's going to give you the area of that regular polygon, and I have it in inches, so it's going to be inches squared. Okay, I'll step back here a little bit. And that's how you do problem number 1. I'm going to do number 2 with you. I want you guys to try 3. I'll do it also, and we'll check our answers. And I have more examples I can give you if you need it, okay? All right. Okay, we're going to start with step 1. So step 1, we have to find our central angle. In order to find our central angle, if you look at the example above, that's going to be 360 divided by the number of sides, and then divide that answer by 2. Okay, so we have 8 sides here. So you're, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. So 360 divided by 8 is going to give you 45. Okay, 45 gives us this value of this angle, but I don't want that angle. I want just this guy. So you have to take that 45 and divide it by 2, which is why we say divide whatever you get here by 2. Okay, and then you get 22.5 degrees. So now we know our central angle. This angle right here is 22.5. Okay, what do we need? We need the apothem, side length, and number of sides. Do I know the apothem? No, I do not. Do I know the side length? Yeah, I do. What is it? 4, because if this is 4, so's this, so's this. So I'm going to put 4 here. And then we said we had 8 sides. So you know those values. So I need my apothem, right? I need this guy right here. Well, if I draw a right triangle over here, because I'm taking this right triangle and I'm moving it over, I know that this here is 22.5. And I know my side length is 4. This total is 4. So if it's 4, and I know this side is congruent to this side, what's this value right here? 2. Okay, because 2 and 2 equals 4. So I'm going to put 2 here. What do I need to know? I need to know the value of this side. So I'm going to put my x right here. Okay, and now we're going to do trig. We're going to label based on our reference angle, where we say opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. We're going to circle 2 sides that have values. this one, and this one, okay? Step 3 in trig was to decide which trig function you're going to use. I have O and A. What trig function uses O and A? Tangent does. Step 4 was set up that trig function. So I'm going to say tangent of my reference angle, 22.5 equals O over A, 2 over X. Put this over 1. All right, guys, my variable is on the bottom, so when you cross multiply, you're going to get tangent of 22.5 times x equals 2. Remember I showed you mathematically then what happens, how we have to end up dividing by the tangent of 22.5 to get x by itself. Or I told you can just remember that when your variable's on the bottom, these guys have to switch spots. And I would rewrite this as x equals 2 divided by tangent of 22.5. Okay, remember that? So then you take your calculator and you're going to do 2 divided by tangent 22.5. Okay, just like that. Hit equals and you get 4.828. We're going to round to the nearest hundredth. So we're going to do 4.83. Okay. X equals 4.83. Okay. So this 4.83 that we found here is x. I have an x here. That means that this value right here is 4.83. Okay. Now, that's my right triangle. So what value did I just find? This side matches this side, right? So this is 4.83. What is that called? That's called my apothem. So I can put 4.83 here. And then step 3 is plug those values into your formula, okay? Area equals my apothem of 4.83 times my side length of 4 times my number of sides, which is 8, divided by 2. And this is in inches, so once you get that answer, it's going to be in inches squared. Okay? We'll put a line here so you can kind of see. So there's example 1 and example 2. All right, there's example 3. Pause your screen, work it out. I'm going to do it and we'll check our answers. Okay, so here's what I got for number 3. This one was a little tricky. I actually kind of forgot about the fact that you had to do trig twice, or trig and Pythagorean theorem. So on this one, in order to find your central angle, you do 360 divided by the number of sides, which is 4. That gives you 90. That's your central angle. You divide 90 by 2 and you get 45. Okay. And then here it might have threw you guys a little bit. They gave me only the radius. They didn't give me a side length. Okay. And in order to work these problems out, you need to know your apothem and you need to know a side length. So here I had to find my apothem and I had to find this value in order to get my side length. Okay, so if you look, step 1, I labeled my sides opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. Step 2, I circled 2 sides with value. I circled these 2 sides first. They're the ones circled in black. Okay, it's getting a little blurry. I don't know why. So I said, what trig function uses O and H? O sine does. So I set it up, sine of 45 equals opposite over hypotenuse. So y over 3, y equals 2.12. That told me this value here was 2.12. Okay, and I transferred that over to here. And then I said, okay, now you have to find your apothem because you still need your apothem. So I put an X here. And I circled these 2 sides. You could use trig at this point, or Pythagorean theorem at this point. If you wanted to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, you could. I just did trig because I already had it all set up. So I said, what trig function uses a and h? Cosine does. Cosine of 45 equals x over 3 because it's adjacent over hypotenuse, x over 3, okay? And I get x equals 2.12 again. All right, so right now I know that because this was my x and that matches this side, that this is 2.12, this is 3, and this little chunk right here was 2.12. But I needed my apothem, which I have. I needed my side length, which I almost have. I have to multiply that by 2, and you get 4.24. And I need my number of sides, which equals 4, okay? And then I plug that into the formula. Apothem times side length times number of sides divided by 2 gives me an area. The area of that polygon is 17.98 feet squared, okay? I'm gonna step back and let you get all 3 of these. That way, if you wanna work them out a couple times on your own and get comfortable with them, you can do that. There you go. Okay, and that's going to be what your assignment is over today. So you've already covered day 1, where we named and found the central angle. Day 2, where I gave you everything and you found the area. Day 3, where you had to use Pythagorean to find the missing piece. Our trig review, the rules for trig. Okay, that was on day 4. But the day 4, 11.4 then is where you had the 3 steps where you find your central angle, use trig to find the missing sides, and then you plug them into the formula. Keeping in mind you need an apothem, a side length, and a number of sides each time. And then there's some example problems. All right, guys, thank you.